The loud crash shook the whole compound. A metal pot rolled across the floor and hot soup splashed everywhere. Bissy stood in the middle of the kitchen shaking. Mama Kemi towered over her, eyes burning with anger. "You think you can challenge me in my own house?" Mama Kemi shouted. "You will learn today." The whole compound went silent. Even the birds stopped singing. Everyone knew Mama Kemi had finally met someone who would not bow. That moment was the beginning of the war. But the story did not start there. No, it started many months earlier. In the busy town of Ilaro, nobody needed a description of Mama Kemi. If you just mentioned the woman with the sharp tongue, people understood. She was known for three things: her loud voice, her quick anger, and her ability to make any daughter-in-law run back home crying. She had 2 sons, both married before. Both wives left saying the same thing: "I cannot live with your mother." Mama Kemi always said, "Any woman who cannot respect me does not deserve my son." So when her last son, Kunle, said he had found a new woman to marry, the whole compound whispered. Let us see how long this one will last. The sun shone brightly over the compound, but Bissi's heart raced with nervous excitement. She was about to meet the woman who controlled everything in the house, Mama Kemi. When Kunle brought her home, Bisi walked with gentle steps and greeted everyone with respect. She knelt to greet Mama Kemi and even helped her adjust her wrapper. Mama Kemi smiled proudly. See how a real wife behaves. For the first time in many years, the old woman looked satisfied. She introduced Bisi to everyone and praised her. "This one has home training. She will stay." Bisi felt happy and hopeful. She believed she had entered a peaceful home, but she had no idea what waited for her. From that first day, Bisi noticed the household was different from anything she had imagined. Everyone followed Mama Kemi's rules strictly. Nobody did anything without her permission. Even simple things like fetching water or sweeping the floor required her approval. Bisi thought, "I would do my best. I will not disappoint her." Little did she know that her patience would soon be tested beyond anything she had expected. The first morning Bisi woke up, the sun had barely risen, but the house already felt heavy with rules. Mama Kemi's eyes seemed to be everywhere at once. Everyone woke up at the same time. Everyone ate only after Mama Kemi had taken her first bite. Nobody swept the compound unless she approved. Nobody went out without telling her. It was like living under a strict ruler. Bisi tried to help by sweeping the compound, but Mama Kemi stepped out and screamed, "Who told you to sweep now? Drop that broom." Bisi froze. I thought I should help, Ma." "Help? In my house, you only do what I tell you to do, not more, not less." That was the first of many warnings. From that day, Mama Kemi controlled everything Bisi did. How to wash clothes, how to cook, how to talk, even how to laugh. Every mistake, small or big, brought insults. "You don't know how to pound yam? Who taught you how to wash plates? Did your mother raise you at all?" Bisi kept quiet. Kunle worked long hours in another town, so she had no one to defend her. Still, she endured. One afternoon, Bisi was washing clothes behind their house when Mama Kemi marched toward her. "You washed these clothes too fast," she said, inspecting the bucket. Bisi blinked. "But Ma, I spent almost 2 hours. So you are arguing with me now? Eh? You want to start talking back?" Bisi quickly lowered her head. "No, Ma." But inside her heart, something tightened. The neighbors began to notice the tension. Whenever Mama Kemi raised her voice, people in nearby houses paused and listened. One evening, after sweeping the compound under the hot sun, Bisi sat alone on a wooden bench. She was tired, body and mind. An old neighbor, Mama Fuke, approached quietly. "My dear, don't let her break you." That is how she drove the other wives away. Bisi swallowed hard. "I am trying, Ma. I know. But be strong. She respects only those who don't fear her." Those words stayed with Bisi. She sat there long after Mama Funke left, staring at the sky. Her heart was tired, but her spirit was learning something new. A quiet decision was forming inside her. She would not keep silent forever. The kitchen felt too hot, not because of the fire,
but because Bisi could sense something was about to go wrong. Mama Kemi had been watching her all morning with sharp, suspicious eyes. That afternoon, she ordered Bisi to cook a big pot of egusi soup for some visitors. Bisi walked carefully, cutting vegetables, grinding pepper, washing the meat twice, and stirring the pot gently. She wanted everything to be perfect. As she was adding the final seasoning, Mama Kemi walked in. She dipped the spoon into the soup, tasted it, and suddenly her face twisted with anger. "Who taught you how to cook this nonsense?" Bisi's hands trembled. I followed your instructions, ma. Are you calling me a liar? You think you know more than me?" Mama Kemi shouted. Bisi took a small step back. Before she could explain, Mama Kemi grabbed the big pot. She tried to fling it toward the sink, but her strength failed. Instead, the pot slipped from her hands, crashing to the floor with a loud ringing sound. Hot soup splashed everywhere. The whole compound heard it. Doors opened. Neighbors peeped out. Children stopped playing. Inside the kitchen, Mama Kemi turned sharply to Bisi. "You will learn today that this is my house." Then something unexpected happened. The anger Bisi had been holding on side for weeks, months, finally rose to the top. She stepped forward slowly, her eyes calm but strong. "No," she said quietly. "I think you will learn today." The whole kitchen fell silent. Even Mama Kemi froze. It was the first time anyone had spoken to her that way, and it was the moment everything changed. The air in the kitchen felt heavy, almost too thick to breathe. For the first time in her life, Mama Kemi found herself speechless. Bisi did not look angry. She did not shout. She simply stood with quiet strength, and that made her words even louder. Mama Kemi stepped forward, expecting Bisi to move back, but Bisi did not. "You insult me every day," Bisi said softly. "I have tried to respect you. I have tried to serve you, but I am not a slave. I am your son's wife, not your enemy." Mama Kemi's eyes widened. Nobody, absolutely nobody had ever spoken to her like that. Outside the kitchen, neighbors stood still, listening. Nobody wanted to miss what was happening. Bisi continued, her voice steady. "You chased the other wives away, but I will not run. I will stay in my marriage, and I will not allow you to treat me like dirt again." Mama Kemi's mouth opened, then closed. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Bisi turned away from her, picked up a rag, and began to clean the spilled soup, calmly, without asking for permission. The old woman watched her in shock. This was not rudeness. This was not disrespect. This was strength. Pure, quiet strength. The neighbors whispered outside. "She has met her match. Mama Kemi never expected this. This girl is different from the others." After cleaning the floor, Bisi washed her hands, brought out fresh ingredients, and began cooking again, still without waiting for any approval. Mama Kemi finally managed to speak, but her voice was weaker than usual. "Bisi, you think you can disobey me?" Bisi didn't turn around. She simply said, "I will respect you, Mama, but I will also respect myself." For the first time ever, Mama Kemi had no answer. After that day in the kitchen, nothing felt the same in the compound. Something had shifted, quietly but powerfully. Bisi no longer moved around with fear in her eyes. She still greeted Mama Kemi respectfully. She still did her duties in the house. But she no longer walked on eggshells. If Mama Kemi shouted, Bisi replied with calm, steady words. If Mama Kemi tried to control her every move, Bisi smiled and said, "I will do it at the right time, Mama." This confused the old woman. She tried the old trick she used on the previous wives, raising her voice, insulting small mistakes, testing patience with unnecessary demands, but nothing broke Bisi. Nothing scared her. Slowly, very slowly, the insult reduced. One morning, when Bisi woke up early to sweep, Mama Kemi came out to complain as usual, but she stopped halfway. She saw how peacefully Bisi swept, how steady her hands were, how calm her face looked. The anger in Mama Kemi melted into confusion. Another time, when Bissy cooked breakfast, she served Mama Kemi with a gentle smile. The old woman tasted the food and found no fault in it, though she opened her mouth to complain out of habit. She closed it slowly. The neighbors noticed the change too. "This girl has tamed the lion," one whispered, "not by fighting, but by standing strong." The compound felt more peaceful than it had in years. Mama Kemi sat outside one evening watching Bisi wash plates. For the first time, she saw something she had refused to see before. Bisi was not weak. She was respectful, yes, but behind that respect was strength, real strength. She sighed deeply, almost sadly. Perhaps she had been put hard for too long. Perhaps she had met someone she could not break. Inside her heart, though she would never admit it yet, Mama Kemi felt something new. Respect. The weeks that followed felt different, lighter, calmer, almost peaceful. Bisi still worked hard every day, but her heart was no longer heavy. She no longer feared sudden insults or unexpected shouting. She walked with quiet confidence. Mama Kemi watched her closely. At first, the old woman expected Bisi to slip, to make a mistake, to fail. But Bisi did not break. She did not run away like the others. She did not cry or beg. She simply stood her ground respectfully. One afternoon, Bisi was cooking yam porridge outside. As she stirred the pot, Mama Kemi walked toward her. The neighbors paused, waiting for shouting, waiting for drama. But instead, Mama Kemi said something nobody expected. "Is the yam soft?" Bisi looked up, surprised. "Yes, Mama." Mama Kemi nodded and walked away quietly. The neighbors exchanged shocked glances. Another day, Bisi washed clothes in the backyard. Mama Kemi came by and checked the washing basin. Before, she would have complained, but this time, she only said, "Clean work." For Mama Kemi, that was almost the same as saying, "Well done." Each little moment showed something was changing inside her. One evening, as the sun was setting, Bisi served food in the living room. She placed Mama Kemi's plate gently in front of her. The old woman looked at the food, tasted it, and said softly, "Thank you." Bisi froze. She had never heard those words from Mama Kemi before. "Welcome, Mama." Mama Kemi stared at her for a long moment, not with anger, not with suspicion,
but with new eyes. Eyes that saw Bisi not as an enemy, but as a woman who deserved respect. Later that night, the old woman sat outside on a wooden chair. Mama Funke walked by and greeted her. "How is your new wife doing?" she asked with a small smile. Mama Kemi sighed deeply. "She is a good woman," she said quietly. "Very strong. Stronger than I expected." Mama Funke smiled knowingly. "Sometimes strength does not shout, it just stands." Mama Kemi nodded slowly. Inside her heart, she accepted something she had never accepted before. Bisi was not someone to break. She was someone to learn from. And respect, once forced, was now given freely. Kunle had been away for weeks, working in another town. He called often, but he didn't know what had been happening at home. He had no idea that the house had changed completely. On the morning he returned, the compound was quiet. Mama Kemi sat outside peeling oranges, and Bisi was sweeping the yard. When Kunle walked in with his travel bag, he smiled widely. "My two favorite women," he said. Bisi smiled shyly. Mama Kemi nodded, but she said nothing at first. Kunle looked around. The house felt peaceful, much more peaceful than he remembered. "Bisi, You look brighter. And Mama, you look calm. What happened while I was away? Bisi opened her mouth to answer, but Mama Kemi spoke first. Your wife is a good woman, she said firmly. Kunle blinked, surprised. He had never heard his mother praise a daughter-in-law before. Mama Kemi continued. She is strong, very strong. I thank God for her. Kunle looked at Bisi amazed. What did you do? He whispered. Bisi just smiled softly. Nothing, Kunle. I only tried to be myself. Later that evening, Kunle sat with Bisi in the small backyard. The breeze was cool, and the moon was rising slowly in the sky. Tell me everything, he said gently. Bisi hesitated. She didn't want to make Mama Kemi look bad. But Kunle insisted. I am your husband. I need to know. So Bisi told him everything. The shouting, the insults, the pressure, the crash of the soup pot, and how she finally stood her ground. Kunle listened silently, his face serious. When she finished speaking, he took her hand. I'm proud of you, Bisi, he said. You didn't fight with her, but you also didn't give up. You stood strong. Bisi nodded slowly. She is changing, she added. I think she is beginning to see me differently. Kunle looked toward the main house where his mother sat quietly in the living room. I have never seen my mother respect anyone like this, but she respects you. Bisi smiled. The house felt like a different place now. Something new had grown in it. Something gentle, something peaceful, something strong. Respect. The days that followed Kunle's return were filled with a gentle calm that surprised the entire compound. For the first time in a long while, laughter could be heard inside Mama Kemi's house. Not the loud, forced laughter she used to give visitors, but soft, peaceful laughter that came from real understanding. One quiet afternoon, Bisi was washing vegetables in the kitchen, where Mama Kemi walked in slowly. There was no anger in her eyes, no sharp words on her tongue, just a thoughtful expression. Bisi, yes, Mama.
The old woman hesitated, something she had never done before. Then she continued, I know I have been hard, too hard. I'm not used to people standing up to me. When you did, I thought you were being stubborn. But now I see you were only protecting your dignity. Bisi paused, her hand still in the bowl of water. I never wanted to fight you, Mama, she said gently. I only wanted peace. Mama Kemi nodded slowly, her voice almost breaking. And peace is what you brought. For a moment, both women stood quietly in the kitchen, the same room where they had once faced each other as enemies. But now the air felt warm, almost friendly. Later that evening, the neighbors gathered outside to talk, as usual. But this time, they were not talking about shouting or quarrels. They were talking about change. Mama Kemi is not the same, one woman said. That Bisi girl changed everything. Another woman nodded. Sometimes the strongest battle is not fought with shouting, but with calmness. Inside the house, Bisi served dinner. She placed Mama Kemi's plate in front of her as she always did. But this time, Mama Kemi reached out and held her hand gently. Thank you, my daughter. Bisi smiled, a warm, peaceful smile that carried the weight of everything they had survived. Kule watched the scene from the doorway and felt a deep sense of pride. His mother had finally met her match. Not a rival, not an enemy, but a woman whose strength came from kindness, patience, and quiet courage. And in the end, it was that strength that changed everything. The house that was once filled with fear was now filled with respect. The woman who once chased wives away now protected the one who stayed. And Bisi, the girl who entered the house with hope and walked through fire, had become the heart of the family. If this story touched you, don't leave quietly. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment to tell me your favorite part, and please share this video so others can enjoy it too. Your support means everything. Bye.